What's going on, folks? My name is Josh and you're watching The Outdoor Dude. Thanks for coming back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be talking about Texas rigs and my favorite soft plastics for Texas rigging, so stick around. Bang!
Look at that big mamma jamma, folks.
Alright, we're back. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I do all sorts of educational fishing content when it's not winter and snowy and frozen over like it is here in upstate New York. I do all sorts of actual fishing content. And I do knife reviews, gear reviews, and all sorts of stuff like that. So if you're into that sort of thing, make sure you click the subscribe button down in the corner, hit the notification bell so YouTube notifies you when I do a new video. Texas rig fishing, guys. Weighted Texas rig fishing. It's an incredibly versatile way to fish. You can fish it almost all year round, and I absolutely love doing it. So the topic of this video is my favorite weighted Texas rig soft plastics. Texas rig is great because you can get up close and personal, pitching into that heavy cover, that thick slop, and all that kind of stuff. And usually these baits are pretty slender profiled. They really help getting into really small places that you usually can't pitch your jigs. I really like a Texas rig because it's most of the time it's a natural presentation for the actual forage that the fish are eating in that area. I fish a lot of clear water or clean water, and I fish a lot of heavy grass areas. If you guys know what Oneida Lake is, that's where I live and I fish a lot of ponds that are incredibly similar to that lake. They're just microchasms of that lake. And with that said, this is how I like to fish. Let me preface this by saying something that I usually say in the beginning of videos like this, and this is one man's opinion. This is what has worked for me in the past. It is not necessarily end all be all, and it's not necessarily what might work for you guys. I'm just stating this for beginners or for people who might want to know because I've been asked a few times. So here it is. So first up, in no particular order, my favorite soft plastic for weighted Texas rigging is going to be a tube. I absolutely love a tube. Now, if you haven't seen my other video where I talk about rigging a tube, check the link in the info card up here and you'll see various ways to rigging a tube. And Texas rig is one of the ways that I like to do it. And I double peg it and I rig it in a specific way. And I'll leave that. You can check that video if you want to see more about that. Now, next up, my next favorite way to rig a soft plastic on a weighted Texas rig is going to be a Senko. Everybody loves a Senko, except I use a Strike King shimmy stick, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. That's for a whole nother video. But a weighted Senko is great in a Texas rig for a multitude of different reasons. When I peg the weight, I can skip it up under docks. It's a small profile, real slender. I can get it in and out of tight places, and it's a great bait. Now, hook choice for the Senko. If I need to get this thing into a slender profile and get it into small spaces, I will run it on a round bend worm hook. But more often than not, I'm going to run this thing on a 3/0 or 4/0 extra wide gap light wire hook if I'm running in light cover with a simple reel and sweep hook set. But in heavier cover, I'm going to size up to the heavier gauge extra wide gap hook, and then I'm going to go with the braid to fluoro leader. And then in heavy cover, I will do the same setup, but with straight braid. All right, so my next soft plastic of choice for a weighted Texas rig is going to be a craw. And of course, that's a staple for most people. As you could probably see a trend here, these are relatively to be expected baits for Texas rigging. It's pretty much what everybody uses. But next up, my next bait is going to be a craw. And one of my favorite craws to use is the Berkley Havoc rocket craw. And that craw, I like to use that craw specifically because of the flange on the end of the craw pincher, and it has a lot of action, small profile. It's great as a jig trailer. It's great as, you know, it's a great craw for a multitude of reasons. But in the colder water, I will use a craw without the flange, and as it gets warmer, I'll use the craw with the flange. Without the flange, the craw has a lot less action, but with the flange, it has a lot more action. I'll run that on the largest hook I can get away with, and again, in light open cover, like docks and sparse grass, I'm going to run a light wire extra wide gap 3/0 hook. As it gets into a little bit heavier cover, I'm going to go to the extra wide gap heavy gauge hook, and then as I get into super cover, I'm just going to go straight braid to that heavy gauge hook. Now, my next soft plastic for a weighted Texas rig is going to be a creature bait of some sort. The one that I have depicted here in this picture that I have rigged up, the one that I've been using for a while, is a Berkley one. But I bought a bunch of these all at once. I cannot remember the name of it. The sticker on the package ripped off, so all I know is that it's a Berkley creature bait, and I can't find them anymore. If you guys know the name of this bait, feel free to put it in the comments and let me know. I'd like to buy more of them, but I do have a feeling that the new Guggen Baits creature bait there, the Bandito Bug, is going to be a new favorite of mine this upcoming season. And I usually don't run this particular bait on a light wire hook because I don't throw it in places like that. I use this particular bait for heavy cover, for punching mats and stuff like that, or just for flipping heavy laydowns and all sorts of stuff like that. This is a pretty big, wide profile bait. It's got a lot of action, and they seem to love this bait in those settings. All right, finally, the last weighted Texas rig that I like to use is going to be the brush hog. It's probably not a shocker to most of you. Everybody loves a brush hog. I love the baby brush hog, and I like a larger brush hog. Now, what most people don't know is there is a correct way to rig a brush hog, and I'm going to show you that right now. If you put your finger out like this and roll this bait over the top of your finger, you'll see that those little flappers kind of closed up on that side. But if you turn it over and roll it over your finger, you see that kind of open up. Now, that just offers a whole lot more action if you rig it like that, with the hook point facing up, so those little flappers will open up like that, and it gives it a lot more action when coming over brush and the grass, and just popping it and letting it sink back down. Those will open up, flutter more. It's just going to give you a lot more action when you're fishing the brush hog. Now, I got to give credit where credit's due. I learned that from Tactical Bassin. Those guys over there are amazing. But I run the brush hog in the hot summer months when I'm looking for a ton of action. Now, if I'm fishing ponds, I'll go with the baby brush hog. If I'm fishing the lakes, I will throw the baby brush hog, and often I'll size up to the larger brush hog if I need to get that bigger profile. And hook size, it goes same as the rest of the baits. Light wire hook in the ponds for the baby brush hog. I don't throw the light wire hook on the larger brush hog. I'm usually, when I'm throwing the larger brush hog, I'm throwing it into heavy cover areas and stuff like that where I'm going to be looking for big fish. So I usually don't throw a light wire hook in those settings, and I'll throw the larger brush hog on a 4/0 extra wide gap hook, and I'll throw the baby brush hog on a 3/0 extra wide gap hook. Alright guys, this is where I'm going to end the video. Hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully I can help some of the beginner anglers out there learn a little something faster than I did when I was a kid. And hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I hope it could help. As always guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know in the comment section what you guys like to use for your weighted Texas rigs. I love hearing back from you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. This is where I'm going to end the video guys. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button right there. I don't know what you're waiting for. And if you want to see more videos like this, click the playlist of videos I've got set up for you guys right over here, and if you want to see more, click those two videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!